Speaker Hoffman. Leader Hernandez, could you go a little more in depth? I know we're kind of rushing. We just had a committee hearing on this. We've been in caucus. We assume there's going to be more coming down the pike today, but could you explain for the members just a little bit what exactly the Board of Review does? Why do we need to redistrict? I'm sure we'll have some other questions, but for those of us not from Cook County, maybe explain why we need to redistrict the Cook County Board of Review.
Sure. As mentioned before, the board basically gives an opportunity for taxpayers to appeal their property, and it is required to do this every 10 years. And
can you talk to us about how the decision was made to redistrict, as is in the legislation before us? What's behind this? What data has been used? Things like that.
Sure. ACS data is used.
Was ACS data the sole data that was used?
Sole population data, yes.
Was there other data that was used to draw these maps?
Supplementary data like the election from the election board.
And why would election board data be used to draw the Cook County Board of Review maps?
It's not unusual. This is data that's been used in the past.
So can you, how many Cook County Board of Reviews members are there? Are these divided into districts? I'm sorry, being from Sangamon County, I'm not overly familiar with the Cook County Board of Review.
It's 3 districts.
3 districts, divided equally by population?
1.7 million each.
So divided by population based on ACS data and election data. I think we have some few other questions, and like I said, I think we're going to get into some other events maybe today. Speaker Hoffman, I reserve my right to maybe get yielded time by others, but for now, that's all I have to say on this topic.
Thank you, Leader. Leader Spain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A question for the sponsor.
Sponsor yields.
Leader Hernandez, thank you for bringing this bill forward. I was curious because I'm learning a lot about the Cook County Board of Review beginning this morning. It's not an agency that I have great familiarity with, living down in Peoria. But you mentioned that there is a requirement to redistrict this Board of Review every 10 years. Can you tell me a little more about that?
It's a constitutional requirement. It's a statutory requirement in state law.
Okay, so it's a requirement in statute. It's not part of some constitutional provision that creates this redistricting process, correct?
Correct.
But is it fair to say that when was the last time, I know this sounds like a silly question, but when was the last time the Board of Review was redistricted?
I believe that's 2011.
Okay, so 10 years ago. So we've arrived at that moment. If we knew that redistricting of the Cook County Board of Review was a process that we would undertake every 10 years, and if we have convened a redistricting committee through which this legislation was adopted this morning, that committee, as you know, has met 30 times, perhaps 40 times. Why was this morning the first time we heard of this matter and not in one of the 40 other hearings related to redistricting?
So I believe it was about 50 hearings actually altogether. And I would just say there was just ample opportunity for discussion on this from the public.
Did we receive any ample input or any input at all in the 50 hearings from the public regarding the Cook County Board of Review?
No.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, to the bill.
The bill.
This is the beginning of a theme that we're going to hear a lot about today. A process a new day that was delivered here for the Illinois House of Representatives, and it looks pretty similar to the old days of the Illinois House of Representatives. Transparency is important in our government, and we have had ample time to alert the public about a variety of measures that will be undertaken today, and we have chosen in every step of the process to obfuscate the intentions, to operate in secrecy, and deprive the people of the state of Illinois, or in this case, the great people of Cook County, the opportunity to weigh in onto this subject and many more. I urge a no vote.
Leader Bourne.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the sponsor yield?
She indicates she'll yield.
Thank you. Leader Hernandez, just to speed things up, I'm looking at page 53 of your bill, if you want to flip to it. And a change reads, well, I'll read what's currently in statute. In the year following each federal decennial census, the General Assembly shall reapportion the election districts to reflect the results of the census. Is there any deadline to do this?
So it's to occur in this year.
So December 31st at midnight would be the deadline?
I would just say it should occur this year.
Is there a reason that we're rushing this through?
I wouldn't say it's rushing. I think it is an opportunity to do it now.
I would beg to differ. As I think previous speakers have said, we first learned about this morning. It's already been through committee. It's not even 2:30 and it's up for a vote on the House. That's pretty fast, even in this chamber. So it seems like a rush to me. Representative, is there anything currently in statute that mentions that the American Community Survey should be made or should be an acceptable form of data to reapportion anything? Is that currently in statute before this bill passes?
I would say it's just a source of data.
No, I understand that. But do we have anything in our laws of the state that say American Community Survey data may be used to reapportion?
No.
Will we after this passes?
Yes.
Yeah, I have some concerns with that, particularly since even the Census Bureau says that American Community Survey data is not appropriate for reapportion or for redistricting. So what you're adding to the statute says, if any year following the federal decennial census in which the results of the census are not available by March 31st, the General Assembly may use other population data, included but not limited to the most recent American Community Survey data. Do you think that it is allowed in statute now to do this without American Community Survey data?
So statute does ask for census data, but since census data is not available, this is the next alternative.
Yeah, I have some concerns with that. So you are changing the statute to say that it's allowed, but you're moving forward with redistricting it without the decennial census data, which you just said was required. So I think this gets to the core of the argument to the bill, Mr. Speaker. I think this gets to the core of the argument that we have been making for many months about the appropriateness of using American Community Survey data to redistrict. And our position is just the same as the Census Bureau. It shouldn't be controversial, but we are enshrining in our state law now that it would be appropriate, even though the sponsors just indicated that the statute currently calls for census data and there is no rush for this. The deadline would be December 31st of 2021. I think this is inappropriate. Please vote no.
Leader Hernandez to close.
I ask for your aye vote.
The question is, shall Senate Bill 2661 pass? All in favor vote aye, all opposed nay. The voting is open. Have all voted wish? Have all voted wish? Have all voted wish? Mr. Clerk, please take the record. On this question, there are 72 voting yes, 45 voting no, 0 voting present, and this bill having received the constitutional majority is hereby declared passed.